Welcome back, the Not So Perfect podcast.
Gerardo Cornejo.
Matt Chen in the building, and we're giving you a sneak preview of the mysterious Borgmeyer Photography. He makes all the magic happen here.
Photography by Keith.
Yes. Keith Borgmeyer, shout out. Oh, this is sponsored by Keith Borgmeyer. This video is sponsored by Keith Borgmeyer. Shout out.
Our first sponsor.
Yes, hit us up for if you'd like to sponsor our videos. We'll take anything.
Thanks for the space, Keith. I'm trying to do you proud.
Yeah, so we're back. Haven't seen you in a while. It's been a busy week.
Yeah. You've been kind of giving me a quick update on the week that is and is currently going through right now.
Yeah.
What all is going on?
Everything positive.
What's a busy life? What's a busy week for a mogul such as yourself?
A mogul
such as yourself.
Well, productive is the word I'd rather use.
Yeah.
And we had 4 closings today that the last 72 hours have been mentally, I've had to be there.
Okay.
For the last 72 hours for it to make it happen. And it just boils down to I love helping people.
Yeah.
It was last minute stuff. We had to move. They were in the house still. And I just had to help them move. So for 3 hours, we moved the rest of the stuff that was in the basement all the way up the hill in the snow on a dolly. You picture it. It was fun. It was that much fun.
So I would imagine since you're like the top dog, you probably just point and tell people what to pick up and where to put it and all that stuff, right? That's the hard
No,
part.
I was one of the pulling dogs today.
So
I was down there in the trenches.
The point of that comment was just to let everybody know that even when you're, a leader in your industry or whatever it might be, there's days where you're gonna have to get your hands dirty.
Get dirty.
You're gonna have to roll them
That's the funnest part, man. The reminder of what got you here, what got you there.
Where it started.
Yeah, and I'm still not there. I don't know. It feels like I'm just getting started still.
Well, one thing I can say, and obviously I'm not an expert in your field, but just from watching, getting kind of be an observer of how the office works and how you kind of, manage that ship. I've never not once see you not be the first one to roll the sleeves up and get dirty. So that's a testament.
Learn from the best.
That's a testament to you that, and I think. Because I've asked you a couple different times, like, just how young your staff is and just the guys you got, or the people you got working for you. Like, these are young, motivated people that, I feel like, because I asked you a couple times, like, how do you keep them motivated? How do you keep them throughout the year, through the good times, the bad times? Like, how do you keep them hungry for more? And I think, just from my experience and working with people that, that have been good bosses and people working for people that have been not so good bosses, I learn more from the better bosses, from the ones that are willing to get their hands dirty, do the stuff that, you wouldn't expect a boss to have to do, so it's just nice. It's refreshing to see, you lead from the front, you're not one that's from behind, pointing fingers and you need to be over there. Like you're leading the pack. So, I mean, it's commendable.
Stacy sent me, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Take that and run with it.
Stacy sent me a little, Stacy, my wife, shout out Stacy. She sent me a little picture. It was kind of that leaders lead from the front. It was a guy in a Roman carriage. And here's the other leader back here hitting him. Yeah, and then the real leader in the front pulling the pack in front of him, just showing them what it takes, showing them that I'm still hungry, even though the systems work the way they do. I'm still as hungry as ever. I'm still trying to accomplish goals. Here's what I expect of you guys, and just not just setting expectations, but seeing what it takes.
Yeah. So that reminds me, I had to binge watch the last couple of days. I've been watching The Last Dance.
Is this like a new docu-series I don't know about?
Michael Jordan.
The Michael Jordan Last Dance.
The one.
I thought it was like a romance movie, The Last Dance.
No, I'm not a big rom-com.
The Go, okay.
If it doesn't have Matthew McConaughey in it, rom-com, I ain't watching it. That's how it goes.
All right.
No, but, I just finished the last episode this afternoon. I had like 20 minutes left, so I was like, couldn't remember the last part of it, so I put it back on. And it's Michael talking about, because one of the reporters asked him, looking back, do you think your teammates will how will your teammates describe Michael Jordan? Playing with you, playing for you, da 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 da. And he said, that's just going to depend on who you ask, because here's the deal, like if you're going to play with me and on my team, like I expect the absolute best out of you. And if I don't get it from you, I'm going to lean on you until I get it out of you. You know, you put pressure under a diamond, pressure under the rock, you get the diamond.
Yeah.
You know, but the really neat thing at the end that always gets me was he's like, you know, all these guys that were, you know, saying I was mean or I was hard on them or this or that, he said, you know, look at the big picture, what we accomplished. You know, he's like, I had to be like that because to get you guys on my level, like, you needed pressure. You needed pressure from me, from whoever, you know.
It's scary.
And
yeah, Matt walks around here with a shirt off. It's scary, man.
Only during the summer. But no, he always talked about how, you know, say what you want about Michael Jordan, but I never asked anybody to do anything that I wasn't willing to do myself, you know, and that's kind of what you were describing. So,
and those are mentors, those are leaders.
Yeah,
those are
basically Gerardo is Michael Jordan. So with that, we'll end this podcast.
I just got one ring. That's all I needed is one
that's
ring.
Right. Go
I didn't need 6.
24 karat.
No, and even with my son was watching the Prime documentary. Again, another example of greatness and
Deion.
Yeah. Deion Sanders and the whole Colorado thing. Have you watched that?
I have not. No.
Recommended. It's along the athletes we watched growing up.
Yeah.
And if you don't know Deion Sanders Prime, just look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's kind of neat because I. Along with The Last Dance, I was also watching, and it's probably one of my more favorite like ESPN 30 for 30s is the Lance Armstrong one, because his story comes from an entirely different perspective.
And I know nothing about it.
Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but you know, there's a quote in there that I use for myself all the time. You know, they said asked him because there was a point before he got in trouble and everything came out. About his story, you know, he had an opportunity to take a deal, probably keep most of his spot, like basically get a slap on the wrist, swept under the rug, or the other option was nothing happens at all, or the third option is what ultimately happened to him, where he said, "Nah, the hell with this." He said, "If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down with the ship." And so they asked him, like, why wouldn't you just take the deal? You know, why wouldn't everybody else did? You know, everybody else did the same thing. And he said, you know, for me, you know, I'd carried this lie for so long. He said I couldn't just subtly, gracefully dance away into the sunset. He said I had to have an absolute nuclear eruption. You know what I mean? That's exactly what happened to him. But for him to change who he was and what he stood for, you got to go through that, you know, and I can relate.
You would have never been able to sleep.
And I can relate to that because of what I had to go through. Like I needed a nuclear explosion to happen for me to click, you know, for something.
And that's not like is that compared to like you hit rock bottom?
I mean, rock bottom's different for everybody. So I mean, that was his, you know, or maybe that was his. I can't say that it is, but if I had to guess, I'd say it got to be a pretty low point in his life, you know. You know, but my bottom was different than his, you know, in different ways. You know, but he just, I don't know, I'll leave it at that, but yeah, it's one worth watching, but it's not your fairy tale, you know, run off into the sunset. It's the exact opposite. But again, it's just a different perspective on, you know, Lance was great, you know, and the fact that he won 7 Tour de France is like, okay, well, apparently everybody at that time and in that cycling sport was all on EPO. They were all blood doping. They were all doing the steroids and the you know, all the stuff. But with him, like, he lied about it. Like, he was, you know, he just denied it and denied it and denied it and denied it.
And you can't really tell because you're like, oh, it's bikers. They're not on drugs. They're not on steroids.
in the cycling community, everybody knew. Like, if you're not on this stuff, like,
you don't have a chance.
Have no expectation of being successful. Like, it's just not.
You don't have a chance.
Like, and that's just, you know, so was cycling all terrible? Like, or was it just slowly, just one step forward, one step to the right, one step forward, one step to, you know, and over 20 years, you're facing the completely wrong direction. You know, you're faced.
So is all that tested now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No cheating in Tour de France.
Well, I can't say that. Everybody's going to try.
Yeah.
You know, most people will try, especially in that you know, that business. But basically, they had to clean house and start, you know, a brand new testing, because it was corrupt through everything. I mean, it wasn't just the cyclists; it was the sponsors, it was the governing bodies. It was, I mean, everybody was involved that had a finger in it.
Someone's always going to try to find a way.
Yeah, I mean that's just.
Well, I watched a lot of Formula One,
right,
and I mean there's no breaking the rules to like the millimeter or the ounce of gasoline that you overused over everybody else.
Yeah.
Down to that, but there's still people trying.
Yeah,
It's different aerodynamic.
maybe use a lighter, tire nut or something.
Yeah,
save you a couple.
down to
ounces.
that. You have to try at some point.
Yeah.
If you're not trying,
Not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean just kind of getting off of that tangent, but just different types of leaders and how they lead. There's different leadership, tactics and tools for everybody.
So that brings me along to what I want to bring up this week, and I couldn't wait to talk to Matt about it. Is again Michael Jordan, Deion Sanders, Lance Armstrong, Matt Chin. Speaking of those categories, why are like those guys are so hard on themselves? And why are we so hard on ourselves? Just been thinking about that. It could be so much easier if we just didn't care.
Man, I think it boils down to, and I don't know if it's like an age thing, like our generation compared to the previous generation with, Michael Jordan and all those guys. I think it was just that pursuit of perfection, or finding your niche and just trying to be the best, unreconcilable, unforgivable. Like I am just going to be the absolute best no matter what.
Perfection,
so I think
greatness,
it's
all
that
those times.
Well, you look at who we look up to. Look at who we admire. Like, why do you want to be like Michael Jordan? Because the dude's a winner. Like, you want to be a winner of life? Well, yeah. Who doesn't? But then it comes down to what. How do you want to be? What's your version of Michael Jordan? When you look in the mirror, what do you expect the Gerardo version of Michael Jordan to be? It's going to be different for everybody because you have different outlooks and perspectives and expectations of yourself.
And of course, being raised around sports.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're all growing up, watching it, playing it, having our, Michael Jordan posters. Like, I have Michael Jordan posters on the walls. Like, I can say that without, like, I've never played an organized game of basketball in my life. Like, I was never on the grade school team. I was never on the line.
You can't dunk?
No. But I was always the smallest person in my class, guy and girl, till third grade. So it's just like, I found wrestling, thank God. So I found my niche, where you don't need to be tall or anything like that. But it's just the expectation that you put on yourself, and you base that off of, or at least I base that off of, the people I look up to. In wrestling, it's Cale Sanderson. It's, the brand twins from Iowa. Tom and Terry Brands, it's the David Taylors, it's, these John Smith, it's the guys that you look up to, and, it was just chasing perfection, and in wrestling, that's one of those things where, like, Cale Sanderson is the only one to ever go all 4 years undefeated.
So are you still chasing perfection?
In different ways. I mean, you asked me that question whenever I was 20, I'd have a totally different answer for you.
I'm perfect already, I'm 20.
I have a question for you, you asked me that at 40, my answers change. But, the principles are still the same. The core nucleus traits that I'm looking for,
Which are?
So for me, I would probably say my top traits are accountability, reliability, dedication to the task. And tasks, this isn't just work related, this is just daily outlook. So whatever it is I'm doing, I want to try and do those things. And the other thing is just trying to outwork the competition. What am I doing that maybe someone else isn't? What am I not?
Yeah, because there's hundreds of trainers in town.
Yeah, or what am I doing, or what am I not doing that someone else is doing that's bringing them success? And I know if you would ask me that whenever I was 20, I would have had it all figured out. I wouldn't need any help, I can't handle this stuff. But now it's like, that ego aspect is not as prominent. So it's, hey, what can I learn from this person? Maybe call that person up, go buy them a cup of coffee and just chat with them, see what their take is on why they do things that way compared to not the way I do it. So it's just always being open to changing your thinking. Changing your way of thinking. So if you're dead set that you're always right and everyone else is always wrong, we need to get to a point where you're obviously not always going to be right. and sometimes you will be wrong, and that's
Ooh,
okay.
That's a fight with the ego,
And that's
man.
okay, but again, that's that ego that's just, my idea is better. You know, that junkyard dog is barking a little bit louder than the little chihuahua. You know, so those are some of the important traits that I look for. But yeah, it's not really limited to certain, you know, if I'm only working or if I'm only working out or if I'm only running, like I try and do that with everything, you know. So it's just the approach I take to it, making sure I do my homework, you know, making sure I got all the stuff I need, that I'm prepared, you know, making sure I'm not, you know, making sure I'm the most prepared person in the room if possible, you know. So lots of reps with whatever it is.
And maybe this summer you'll see that podcast of how well prepared this man is.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do
no shirt, shirtless.
Maybe we'll do.
You'll be shirtless.
Maybe in March we'll start our. We'll cue some clips up from the workouts.
Oh yeah,
Gerardo's gonna start working out.
I have to hire greatness to make me better. And yeah, I had a dream that I was training boxing with Matt, so it was a sign that we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna go boxing. I'm not gonna fight the Paul brothers. Maybe we should. We'll split it.
We'll see where this
We'll
podcast
split the winnings.
goes. We'll see where this podcast goes.
Podcast Kings versus Podcast
Might take
Kings.
us to new heights. We can do like a tag team,
New heights.
a tag team wrestling match.
No, and I keep thinking about that too, because I think I know I'm missing something on health greatness, on attacking it that way. You know, because winter times I'm on that roller coaster, I let it go, I step on the scale, and it's like, damn, we're there again.
Yeah.
You know, we were so good right before vacation. We were great we were almost there for boat season. But I feel like I need to put that pressure on myself to just be consistent.
Yeah.
Now that I'm at this age.
Well, health takes on a new meaning whenever, you know, as we get older. You know, it's more important.
Ooh, say that again.
I said the older we get, the
Health takes on a new meaning.
Health takes on a new meaning. Yeah, it's our health becomes more important as we get older. You know,
it's not just looks.
Not just the physical. Or
it's getting out of this chair, not saying
I may have said this on a podcast before, but you know, I had a lady that started with me that she had a fall in a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree, and she slipped. Basically had to have knee surgery. And then like a year before that, she had a shoulder surgery, and basically she didn't get the full rehab in. So when she came in, she couldn't lift her left arm like over her head, like this is as high as she could lift it. And her knee was so bad that if she fell down, she couldn't get up. You know, so like day one, I'm helping, you know, pull her up.
What age category is this?
She's in her upper 60s.
Jeez.
You know, but for me, I see that. But she's the sweetest thing in the world, you know. She's the nicest lady ever. She helps people for a living, people that are really in a hard time. So, you know, she's a great person, but I knew we had a lot of work to do. But now she gets up and off the ground, no problem. She can lift that arm up and reach stuff out of the top, you know, out of the.
And how long? What's the process of that?
This was probably, I mean, she's been with me now for probably about 6-8 months now, and I'd say within about 2 to 3 months, because honestly what happened was like she was so afraid to use this right leg that she was all left leg. So like she couldn't even like engage her quad, like she couldn't get anything, like her muscle was just atrophied to the point where she couldn't, like, if I say flex your quad, you know how to flex your quad. She couldn't do it. So we had to basically like re-stimulate the entire right leg with like, started off with just lacrosse balls and just putting pressure on them and getting sensation. And when she got sensation, we'd have to hold that. And then after that, we'd move it to another spot. And then we did that, just a variety of other rehabilitation exercises and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I remember whenever I first, like day one, I'm just like,
you ready for this?
This is really going to test what my knowledge, you know. So, but it also encouraged me because it kind of got me. Maybe I should read up a little bit, you know. It got me into doing more homework on the matter, you know, because I'm not a rehabilitation expert, but I mean I know the general basics of most of it. But it just helped me to kind of expand my knowledge in that area because it's not something I'm super confident in. So I want to make sure I was moving forward, you know. But again, it's just.
Another thing that sets you apart.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just here and telling people what to do and work out.
Yeah. Well, if you can explain to somebody in a way that makes it make sense to them, it'll click better. They'll remember it better. They'll remember the form a little better. They'll associate it with something that they can relate it to. You know. So I feel like just instead of just talking to people about the exercise we're gonna do and how many and you know how much time on this or that, I start with a full description of the muscles we're working, where you need to be feeling certain things. If you're feeling certain things here, it means you're not engaging your stomach, so you need to focus on engaging your core a little bit more. So I run through everything top to bottom on all the cues, what you should be looking for, when you need to be inhaling, when you need to be exhaling. So the more people know about it, whether they want to know more or not, eventually it'll sink in. Whether they want to hear it or they don't want to hear it, they can care less. Like, that's not what I'm worried about, because I know enough.
Yeah, when you hear it, you'll hear it.
Yeah. Yep. So we're doing some boxing stuff today and just doing some burnout with the mitts, and the last 10 seconds they kind of emptied the gas tank and just went as fast as they could. And it's funny because everybody at that 20-second mark, and they start speeding it up, their face just gets beat red because they stop breathing, and about 3 or 4 seconds in, it's like, breathe. How do you know I'm not
drowning.
breathing?
You're
like,
drowning.
How do I know you're not breathing? Your face is the cone of a lollipop, And they're like, how do you always know? And it's like, you do something long enough, you just know how the body will react, and it's that fight or flight. Whenever things start getting tight, you get tense, and you're starting to run out of gas. You start forgetting the basics. So.
And one thing, speaking of breathing, one thing that brought me back to life is yoga.
Yep.
Recommend any age, and it's perfect for any age. It leads kind of to more meditation. It is I guess any kind of workout's a meditation.
More meditation for sure. That's so hot yoga. I do hot yoga about once a week for about an hour, and it is like, it was one of those things where I went in for my first one, and about 15 minutes in, I realized like just how zoned in and locked in I was in that moment, being present. Because walking in there, I was thinking about 30 other things I got to do that I should be doing instead of hot yoga. Then I was thinking about the things I got to be doing after hot yoga. And if you take that into a yoga class, you can't get yourself centered and get yourself present in the moment, you're gonna have a tough class.
Yeah.
Because you have to be focusing on your balance. You have to make sure that weight's balanced on the foot and it's not too far in the toes.
And it's just like two things you got to get dialed in on, like breathing, and balance. And they definitely go together.
Yeah. And if if you're not breathing right, it's going to mess up your yoga. So, I mean, it's 1 hour a week that I can actually just unplug, because for me, what a lot of my clients say, like, oh, I love coming in here because I don't have to think about anything. Like, I just show up and you have it all ready to go, and I don't really ever get that because I'm usually the one making and creating the workout. So
you still go get coaching.
It's nice having that, where I don't have to worry about anything besides bringing myself to this mat for 1 hour, and it's great. Walk out there and I feel so much better.
We should do a shout out of where you go to yoga.
1111 Yoga. Shout out Darcy Smith.
All right.
The best.
Hot yoga. If you're going to hang out with Matt on
Thursdays, 8:30 a.m.
Awesome.
Yep.
So yoga, and then for boxing lessons,
Yeah.
I was going to say optimal. No, Downtown Fitness.
Downtown.
Are you still taking on clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Always taking on new
Shout out to
clients.
Downtown Fitness, who also sponsored this video.
That's right. Each and every podcast sponsored by Cornejo Group and Downtown Fitness.
We're here. And all that leads us to more balancing of life, which is food. You can't cheat your mouth.
Nope.
Tim Ferriss. I went down this. I was watching Gary, the guy you told me to watch. Gary Brecka. We won't shout out to him. Gary Brecka brought up, I saw a little reel of him speaking about the 30-30-30 Tim Ferriss diet, which is, have you heard of that one?
So I've heard of it, but I haven't. I don't know
30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. And then followed by a 30-minute workout of 130 beats per minute for 30 minutes. 30-30-30. He was saying it'll change your life. It cheats the body, it trains the body. But then it's like, okay, let's go find out what the slow carb diet is. So me and my wife started. I went down that rabbit hole, and because again, I need to be disciplined, and I need to be hard on myself about eating, because 2 coffees a day aren't helping boat season. The scones they have there aren't helping. The lunches when we're out, we're so busy, so we just got to eat on the run.
Right.
But I've been searching for discipline. Not that I'm not, but I'm on other things. my diet discipline.
Striving to get better.
Striving to get better, absolutely. Because again, I'm in my 40s, and I've questioned it a lot about the shots the shots my guys are doing, the shots the guys my age are doing.
Yeah.
But I think it just everything leads back to it starts with what you put in your body.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's you said it was 30 grams of protein.
So there's a lot more. So I'm glad you asked. I brought my notes.
Okay, all right.
So the slow carb diet pretty much boils down to don't drink calories, don't eat white, don't eat anything white.
We talked about that, right?
Eat 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. One cheat day a week.
Okay.
And he says go ham. 10 pizzas, bucket of ice cream. I already have dates for Saturday. Me and Mike are eating a pizza. Me and Stacey are eating a tub of ice cream.
Well,
me and Linda are going to get coffee.
Saving up for Valentines Day. That's tomorrow.
No, tomorrow it's discipline, man. Tomorrow's discipline.
Okay.
Tomorrow's just protein.
All right.
One cheat day, no fruit during the week,
Okay.
which blew my mind because in our cultures, well, you got to eat fruit. Make fruit part of your diet. And again, this is a weight loss thing. Reach out to your doctor's physician. We're not promoting any of that.
Yeah.
But this is what me and my wife are trying. And this is, you do this for 6 days a week. And you take the full cheat day, whatever day of the week you want, which ours is going to be Saturday.
Okay.
But it's all of this is in the 4-Hour Body book by Tim Ferriss. We could put a link down there for that. And shout out to Tim Ferriss. He's a very smart individual.
Now, is that a program that you stick with forever?
It can be. Right now, it's mainly focused on weight loss.
Okay.
Because they ask after cheat day, do you fast? He's like, no, just keep going. You're going to be so disciplined that your cheat days are just going to be like normal.
Yeah.
It's no more like, wow.
You might your first couple, you might go a little.
Yes, that's what he says. Like, first 4 weeks.
Once you get sunk into the routine,
it's like, you wake up hungover from sugar and don't drink your calories.
Yeah.
Coffee. You know, I'm at 3 Story. Shout out to 3 Story. I'm there every day. But today I tried the Americano, espresso with some water.
Yeah.
And I was currently drinking cappuccinos, so I'm slowly deleting sugar and coffee because I usually put coffee in my sugar that way.
Yeah.
But I did that, and then waking up. This has been the coolest part. Me and Stacy, we set up our alarms now, and we're having breakfast together. We'll get to start the day together.
Just some eggs.
The breakfast looks like 3 eggs, which that's 18 grams of protein. With spinach, some protein, and a cup of black beans, which is like 17 grams of protein. So over the 30s in the beginning, she gets so full right away, but she's not used to it.
So when did you guys start?
What day is today? Thursday. We started Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday, and I stepped on the scale this morning just to mess around. Already a pound, but I've been fueled up. The body's, I can tell my body's changed.
Yeah.
And I've been able to think clearly. And the things that I've got accomplished in the last 72 hours, I've amazed myself that I still have enough energy to do this. But again, now I have a guide. You know, now I have another coach. Now I have something to depend on.
Yeah.
Instead of, I don't have to think about it again.
Yeah.
And I brought this up one time that Total Wolf, I asked you about it. He eats the same thing every single day. So nothing affects his decision making, his business, his life today or tomorrow. He is that dialed in. Total Wolf, look him up. And I think that's where I'm taking this. We're doing it for the rest of February.
Okay.
Just to make it a habit.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through it within the year. And it's going to teach me so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is too that I always tell people, you know, whenever they're trying something, and this isn't a knock or anything, it's just what I've noticed and observed over the years of just doing this. But people that do the diets, whether it be for, you know, we're going to do it for a month, we're going to do it for 2 months or 3 months, you know, before that 3 months gets there, whatever the time frame is you're planning on doing this diet, or you know, whenever you reach your goals, if you decide to kind of tear it back a little bit, I always have to tell people like, now think of. Let's just say 3 months or whatever it is that you're going to do this diet for. Let's say that day is next week. Okay, what are you going to do after that? Are you going to stay disciplined, or do you have a plan? Like, because a lot of people don't. They don't. They're just more excited for the finish line than what's next.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where's the next finish line after this finish line? You know what I mean? So, I always tell people, have a plan for when that time comes and you're not going to be doing that diet or you hit your weight loss goal, like unless you want to roll it back again, have a plan moving forward so you don't, you keep some sense of discipline.
For sure. Yeah, because we don't have a deadline. We're just going to see where we're at the end of it.
Yeah. So that's
we're still going to keep going.
Stuff like that.
Because I remember back in your 20s and 30s, we were able to get away with those 90-day diets, 60-day diets, and then you cold turkey completely changed. It's so easy to go back to your old habits.
Yeah.
So this is really a change of habits and mindset for nutrition.
Well, and I think once you start developing the fact that you can control, whatever it is, the scones, the sweetness and the sugar and the coffee, the whatever it is, the candy, the cupcakes, cookies,
the chocolate chip cookies.
Once you test yourself, that first week, first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it takes for you to kind of get in that routine. One thing that's kind of neat about it is, like, you kind of holding yourself accountable, because like you'll walk by those cookies on that desk at the whatever bank you guys are closing at, or whatever it is, they're gonna have a celebratory cocktail or something since we just closed this house. And at first it's like it's kind of tough because you got to make that first. You got to put your foot down first and say, appreciate that. I don't need that scone. Appreciate that. I don't need that. Whatever. And once you do that the first time, it's like, okay. You'll be driving home. You're like, I was able to say no, where I usually always say yes. Or, you just start noticing those things where you're kind of holding yourself accountable as opposed to following the stipulations. You're following your own stipulations that you got.
And now it's like, I'll get it on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll get it on Saturday. It can wait. And then now it's an event.
Yeah.
To go eat junk, not just programmed every day.
Right.
To just
the
excuses. The excuses. It's there. I need it. No, I'm actually doing this. So that's kind of our Valentine's Day gift to each other. Reminder. Well, yeah, we'll post this up by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Reminder, it's Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Right.
But I finally found something that it's going to work. This isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Which healthy diets, or just simple diet. We'll call it simple because simple diets are boring.
Yeah.
Eat the same. Program yourself to eat the same thing every day.
I bet I probably have.
You're 90% there?
Probably 90% of my day is like the exact same thing.
Nobody wants to do that. That's not exciting.
It doesn't need to be exciting.
And that's what I'm learning that.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be exciting.
What's exciting is when Matt goes,
You know what sexy looks like? Sexy is being at the gym every single day, even on the days you don't want to, and eating the stuff that you're supposed to eat, even when you don't want to, and doing all those things. And guess what? You stack one day of being able to do that on top of 2, on top of 3, on top of 4. And then when you get to the boat, you shred that shirt off, and all the girls are just going,
What
single?
girls, Matt? What girls, Matt?
You single? You single?
I'm only around guys with the leg, man.
Well, you can edit that. But no, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if you look at like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, was he sexy? Like, well, probably. Was what he did to get like that sexy?
Not at
It was
all.
a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of tears, a lot of discipline. I mean,
all that time.
it's not. That's hours upon hours. I was, probably 3-4 hours a day at the gym at least. That's not sexy. That's boring. That's boring as hell for most people. But just like Michael Jordan, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's the drive to be the best, to outwork absolutely everybody.
And like you said, just 7 days in the gym, you don't have to do that just to be sexy or make it or look a certain way. Because I know a lot of people that'll just go to the gym once. They look just normal.
Yeah.
That's what should be the standard look, like just look normal, like with your bones, with everything that's holding together, just normal. Not to that, because I've come into older couples where all they eat healthy, they eat super healthy, they don't work out, but they do have fun over the weekends. They play music and they do all that stuff. But it's like it's the image thing, back to the ego. What do you see in the mirror?
So I mean, I get that a lot from people just because, I'm most of my new clients, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum of where they're starting from. Like for me, missing a workout, like just take tomorrow off. Like I don't think people understand. Like that's not in the cards. Like, it's not. And if that offends somebody, I
Oh.
apologize. But like, first off, if I don't get a workout, a run, a sauna, a yoga, whatever, whatever it is for the day, like, if I don't get one of those things in or multiple of those things in every day, like, I'm not a great person in between my ears. Like, that's for me, like, I don't lift weights to look like I look. I lift weights to keep my brain in check. Like my ego, my brain, my red devil, like all the stuff we mentioned before in the podcast, like mine is solely for mental health. And if you look great as a side effect of that, that's an added bonus.
It's how you
what I
feel.
mean? Like it's, I mean, I don't know. You see those people that are just constantly just looking in the mirrors and stuff like that. I don't. It's not an important thing to me how I look.
And then again, that's being hard on ourselves. Why are we so hard on ourselves?
Yeah.
Why? Because.
But again, just kind of go back to where we started with that was, my new clients that I have that are on the opposite of that spectrum, like, for them to be like, you want me to come in how many days a week? Like, look.
But that's the result they are asking for. That's what it takes.
Right. People want to know what it takes, to have my body to look like me, and I just tell them, I said, you have this discipline is something that's every day. Like, and the discipline doesn't take days off. It doesn't have snow days. It doesn't recognize your birthday. It doesn't recognize that you're 40. None of that. Like, you have 24 hours today to make the best out of it, to make the most out of your day. So if you think not working out to get a little bit better, in some aspect of your life, then don't. I don't look at it that way. I look at it solely from this is a minimal expectation that you should get your body every single day. You know what I mean? I compare it to like taking my dog for a swim.
And it's such a little percentage of your entire day.
It's an hour, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And like I talk about it like comparing it to taking my dog for a walk. He is absolutely the most pumped up dog for 30 minutes straight. I mean, he is ecstatic. Because guess what? He wants to be outside. He wants to be, they're meant to be doing that stuff, and we're not much different than them. We've got to exercise because it's good for your mind, it's good for your body, it's good for everything.
And today was a beautiful day. We got some sunshine today. It was.
Yeah, I think all that
after the
snow's
storm,
melt.
the snow,
Yeah, no ice like last time, thank God, but that might be coming this weekend.
And it's just, I love continuing to talk about it because it can be so simple. And there's so much fake stuff, information thrown at us that you need to be this way, you need to be this way, you need to look this way, you have to do this way. No, it's just find out what works for yourself, your body type, your ego, your brain.
Yeah,
your mindset.
You need to be cool with just being you, and whatever that is. It doesn't mean you look like Kim Kardashian or, Cameron Haynes or Joe Rogan or whoever, it doesn't matter. And that's not an easy thing. I'm not saying that like it's an easy thing. I know it took me a long time to, through my transformation, it took a long time to be okay with being me, because for a long time I've never been okay with being me, which kind of a subcategory of, why I would drink and why I would drink so much is because I wasn't comfortable being in front of people because I wasn't comfortable with who I was.
And I love you said that because I think I just realized that today. I'm glad you were speaking of this because today, at what point are you okay with yourself and happy with being yourself?
Well, I think that's one of those things too. Like it's never ending.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like kind of like what we talked about. If you asked me whenever I was 20 compared to whenever I was 40, like a good sign of you growing as a person, the older you're getting, is to to be okay with changing what you once thought. You're not going to die on that stake because your opinions change over time. You see things differently. It's like, me before I understood, why my dad was never around growing up. I just thought he just didn't, I thought he wasn't involved. He didn't want to be involved. Then you get to be 20, 22, 23, you find out he was working 2 jobs, 1/3 shift where he was leaving at 11 o'clock at night to go into work and usually working 12-hour shifts, so he'd be home at 11 a.m. And then he'd get home and, change clothes, go out to the rental property and work on those till 6 o'clock at night and come home and maybe get 2 hours of sleep.
And the perspective of that is like he was doing that with your age, close to what your age is now.
Yeah.
Or was he close to the 40s? But that blows my mind.
Well, he did it for 20 years.
Putting that, yeah.
So, I mean, he did it all throughout, so me growing up, I never, if I was good during school, grade school, whatever, I'd get to stay up till 10 o'clock and wake him up before he went to work. And
You get to
yeah, if I was good.
stay up.
You know, because I was supposed to be in bed by 9:30, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I was good, I got to wake. And that was the only time I get to see him, because he works 6 days a week. You know, so I might Sunday we might get to see him, but if he had stuff to do out the rental property, he had to go out there and take care of that. So I mean, at that age, I didn't think he was ever around because he didn't want to be. You know, I just didn't know any different. You know, because I had friends that had dads that were always around, but they worked a normal. You know what I mean? They worked a normal job, but you just, as a kid,
You
don't
get to see your parents.
As a kid, you don't
You
grasp
get to hang out with your parents. You get to eat at dinner with your parents.
yeah, so, you know, but then I got to be about 20 to 25, and it's like, oh shit, like, this is why my dad was never around, because he was providing for us, like, so we could have everything that he did, you know what I mean? So, again, I hope you can change your perspective and not be dead set on things. Like, open your mind, look at different things, and that's part of the reason why I like this podcast and just having conversations with people nowadays. It's just, I don't need gifts or presents or stuff like that. Like, I'd rather just sit down in a coffee and a conversation with somebody, because, you know, if it's somebody I'm interested in, like, I want to know why you think that way, and how you thought of this new and creative, innovative way to do your thing that you love to do, you know, because it gives me more perspective. The more angles I have and different viewpoints, I can make a better decision for
we got
myself.
so much to learn from all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my we went to the Mizzou game on Saturday. We met a guy, pull up, they traded tickets, and then we find out this guy he just sold his company for like $300 million or something like that. Dude shook our hands, remembered our names. We saw him back at the game, and he's like, "You guys play basketball? You gotta come play basketball with me." You know, like, I would love to hear more of this guy, you know, because to reach that level that we think is impossible, that's a level that they never even asked for. They were just working.
Yeah.
You know, and
down
just
grind, and the next thing you know, they're selling.
and to still remain the same, or just still be that humble, and it was. I can't wait to learn more from that person.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach. I don't teach it, but I encourage it to my guys, my young people. Go network.
Yeah.
Go have the conversation. There's don't be paying for leads and talking to strangers on the phone. There's nothing better than this. Eye to eye, shaking hands.
Yeah.
Wherever it's at.
Yeah.
Wherever it's at.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's
that's our job. We almost get paid to have conversations.
yeah. Well,
But on a side note, you work out.
yeah.
On a side note, I make you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You got to witness that a couple weeks ago. I had a client in here that was having a tough time, you know, with a home issue, and you know, so we spent half the workout working out, and then the other half she just kind of had a breakdown. You know, we needed to talk through something, and you know, but the point is, even if you come, I mean, I tell everybody this, like, yes, I know sometimes coming to the gym can be not your top priority or not the biggest thing you want to do right now or the next hour, you know, but I was telling them, like, look, just get here. All you got to do is get here. I'll take care of the rest. Okay?
Nice.
You do not have to worry about anything. And guess what? My track record is still pretty spot on. I've never had somebody come in for an appointment and leave worse off than they were when they got it, you know? So if it's something that you're dealing with where it's internally, you know, we can talk about that while we're working out. Or, you know, whatever we got to do. Maybe you just want to hit that heavy bag a few extra times. Like, we can do that too. You know, so
It's all provided right there, downtown fitness.
yeah, and you know what? And the thing about it is too, like with all the stress that we carry and the anxiety and just throughout the day, just whatever builds. If say it's a tough week, you know, when it's Friday and you got to go work out still, and you're just like, all I want to do is nothing. You know, it's been a hell of a week, this and that. If you just go and get a little exercise in, you know, 30-minute walk, you know, whatever it is, anything, push-ups, sit-ups, body weight squats at home, you know, in between commercials or whatever you're watching, like, you need to release that dopamine in your brain. You need to get those chemicals just flowing to get whatever it is that's been in your head all day. That's how you wash it out. You know, like a tidal wave coming up, washing it all out.
Feels so much better.
Always. Yeah, I can honestly say I've never felt worse after workout, especially on the tough days. The tough days are the ones you need it the most. Those are the days you don't want to do it the most. But how disciplined are you? You know, these are tests every day. We have tests everywhere. You just got to be looking for them. And You know, if the Lord puts a tough day in front of you, He wants to know that you can overcome it. And what are you going to do to overcome that, you know? So yeah, so I mean, it's real easy to be nice, warm, and cozy whenever it's 20 degrees outside, you know, but sometimes you got to get to work, you know, and that comes in a lot of different ways, shapes, and forms.
Just want more.
Well, yeah, you can see the poster up there. Better than yesterday.
Better than yesterday.
You know?
Yeah, this is better than yesterday.
Every single day, try and get 1% better. You know, whether it be being nice to that neighbor that you always butt heads with. Maybe it's, you know, like on a couple things I've been doing lately that I don't always love to do because I'm not always in the best of moods, but I make myself do it because it's a good thing to do. Whenever I take the dog on a walk, I wave at every single person that drives by me in the neighborhood, no matter what. Whether I'm in a pissed off mood or not. And, you know, because, again, I don't know what everybody's going through. Maybe they're having a real shitty day. And maybe me waving at them can give them just that little bit of grace, you know. And then, like, on other days, like on our trash day is Monday. So when I take them on a walk on Mondays, there's usually some loose trash floating around the neighborhood. I pick it all up, you know, because I want to keep my side of the street, my neighborhood clean. I grew up in that neighborhood. I love it. I know most of the people in the neighborhood. So guess what? We're going to have a clean neighborhood, you know. But maybe my neighbor sees me do that and they start picking up, you know what I mean? Like, people, you know, they follow examples that people set, you know, especially people that maybe they're striving to be like, or maybe they want to be more like that person, or just be better.
And it'll make you feel, just one little piece of trash will make you feel better than yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if I told you this story or not, but I had a lady at Madison's once that she came up to the desk to pay her bill at lunchtime, and she was just kind of snooty and just kind of tossed her card at me, and I was asking her, you know, a couple different questions, like, how was everything? How you doing today? And she was very short, very snippety. And I asked maybe her meal wasn't good, so I asked her if everything on her meal was, you know, was everything good? Did everything taste okay? And she said, yeah, it was fine. I said, okay. So I put my hand out and I was like, it's going to be $13.56, whatever the total was. And she just kind of tosses her credit card at me, or debit card, and I'm just like, okay. So I go to swipe her card and I stop for a second. I said, ma'am, I said, can I ask you a question? She said, what's that? I said, are you doing okay? And she just broke down in tears. And turns out that she had a sibling or a parent that had passed away like a couple days ago, you know. So that conversation, you know, because initially I'm just like, all right, you listen up here. Like, I was trying to put my ego in front of this lady that was being what I thought was rude or short, snippety, whatever you want to call it. You know, and that experience was awesome because I was just sober and it was something I wasn't real comfortable doing, but I had recently set boundaries in my life that I was going to stand by, you know, stand on. And that was one of them. Like, hey, if you get put in an awkward situation, like, don't cower down and not follow through. So I asked her how she was doing, and she said, you know, bawling. Next thing you know, we're hugging before she leaves.
I was gonna say that you should have, you definitely hugged,
so I
right?
came out from behind the counter. I was like, ma'am, I was like, do you mind if I give you a hug? I was like, you don't have to if you don't want to. It's like, I don't really appreciate it. You know, so I mean, just little things like that. You can impact people's days, whether you think you are, or whether you think, you know, whether you're not. You know, but you gotta step up the opportunity.
Man, now we're like, it's been awful too with the war that we're in now within ourselves with social media, and the politics and this, and the halftime show this, and the game this. We are so much better than that. And again, trying to live by that example, trying to set that example, it's been really tough. And I've almost changed my entire social media approach, consuming of social media approach.
Yeah.
Because it's dangerous out there. It's dangerous. That could really ruin some minds, and it is.
It does. It is. Yeah. So I have a rule with social media.
He never uses it. That's his rule.
Rarely. Very rarely, because I found myself.
Genius.
I found myself, you know, whenever I was posting stuff, doing all this posting, whenever I was pretty active doing it. My point was to try and get messages out, kind of like what we do here.
Yeah.
You know, but it would be in the middle of a run. You know what I mean? When it was fresh.
I remember those.
You know, so, but what I noticed, like, the more I did, I could feel my ego getting involved to a point where I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. So when I noticed that, I took a year and just stopped altogether. Just got off social media altogether, deleted everything. And now I've re-downloaded everything, and I'll look at it from time to time. But my time to do it is only like first probably, I'd say 15 minutes a day. I might look at it like 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I go to bed. But literally, it's just more for
Well, that's more than enough.
more for just headlines, because honestly,
Yeah.
what also was happening was I'd get stuck in that scroll. I got something on the TV that I'm really interested in watching.
Oh God.
And I'll have to rewind 30 minutes because I literally look up and it's like, how much time has gone by? Like it's crazy just how easy it is. It can just reel you in and get you sucked out of your life. And it's like, say you're doing that, and you're at home with kids that are wanting to play.
Oh
with
yeah,
you. So
I've heard it.
Stacey
He's on his
getting
phone
mad
all
at
the
me.
time.
Yeah,
Like
Stacey's
he's
getting mad
actually
at me.
working. He's like, but it's 8 o'clock. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Like he's working. Again, back to the providers, they really don't know what that takes
Yeah.
or what's happening at that age.
When you can turn it off and when you can, because the kids, they just want dad.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Oh, they've been getting it, man.
They don't care that you're, a real estate guy. They don't care you own your own business. They just want their dad, and we can learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
Just in terms of what's important. Kids will tell you right away or show you right away. But yeah, no, it's,
That's a great reminder that I need to go be dad.
I know.
You need to be dad too. Carlos is waiting for you.
Carlos is waiting. He's got a little hip dysplasia going on, but we got a good program moving forward. We got him on some joint.
You got a good trainer. Joint shoes?
Some joint chews.
Oh,
Yep. And then,
shoes.
Shoes, yes, not shoes.
I was like, is this helping him walk better?
He's got-
You're putting
yeah,
shoes on
he's got
Carlos?
A couple of braces on the back knees.
Is he wearing Uggs? Are they
Yeah.
Uggs?
Boots with the fur. Yeah. So, and that being said, let's get you home, sir.
Thanks for
See those
tuning
kids.
in. Thanks for not being perfect. We can actually talk because I'm so far from it.
Gerard, I've been meaning to tell you this for a while. I'm glad you're not so perfect.
That's the best compliment I've heard today.
Gives me some breathing room.
Be better than yesterday. Thank you guys for tuning in.
That's right. Peace
And
out,
thank
guys.
you, Keith.
Yeah.
Shout out Keith Borgmeyer.
Keith Borgmeyer Photography.
Adios.
See you guys.